if I can take the money from the firm, I need to do the firm's cases, and then I get contacted later that they also represent A&P.
And you're like, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
No. I'm saying I'm fucking staying. I'm staying because I'm going to find out what you guys are up to. I'm looking around all these guys from all these prep schools and stuff that I was, a blue collar kid out of a public school, right?
You're not Winthrop the Fourth.
No, that's right. So I'm saying I'm here to see what these guys are up to, and that's what I found out. I have found out what they're up to. I've monitored what they're up to. I've been offered to come on being what they're involved in. I've been brought into the number one.
Offered to come in?
Yeah, to the litigation law firm. That I've been brought in. When I come into Cahill, for example, and they say here's the Cahill represents the Arkansas Missouri Power Company. And that they have just they've made an offer to purchase the stock of an all-black owned power company in Louisiana, and the people from the local electric power grid area are opposing it, saying that they just want to come in and raise all the rates. They're not going to improve any services, and so that they filed a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission to try to oppose that. So I get a call from Dan James, one of the senior partners, and asked me to come into the office. He said, Dan, look, he said. We've got a case here where we represent the Arkansas Missouri Power Company, and that there's been an opposition in the Federal Trade Commission against our being able to purchase all the stock in this one company. And I said, well, what's the problem? He said, well, there are people are asserting that we're just going to raise all the rates and not really improve anything. And I said, is it true? And he looked at me kind of like surprised, and he said, they told me you might ask that. And he gets up and he goes around and closes the door and he comes back and sits down and he says, that's the problem. He says, there's an actual letter, in the files that says that that's exactly all that we're going to be doing. And, unless we can get the case dismissed entirely, that letter is going to become made public. And, and I said, okay, well, I'm not going to do that. And he said, what do you mean you're not going to do that? He said, are you trying to tell me you don't have time to do that? And I said, okay, I don't have time to do that. And he said, well, no, it's not a big rush. There's time to get this thing done. I said, no, what I'm telling you is I'm never going to have time to do that. Okay. And so he ends up going to the executive committee and howling and screaming about how, that I'm willing to take the money of the firm to represent the New York Times and NBC and stuff that I'm doing, and that if I can take the money from the firm, I need to do the firm's cases, and then I get contacted later that they also represent A&P, the big A&P grocery chain, the Great Atlantic and Pacific Tea Company, they call it. It's a grocery chain, and it turns out that they were engaging in discriminatory pricing in the ghetto areas in all around New York City. This is the big Cahill firm on Wall Street, right?
Yeah, what were they doing? Like
they were charging 25% more for everything because they knew that the people didn't do comparative shopping because they didn't have any transportation. They couldn't go somewhere else and shop, so they only had to shop in this one place.
God.
And so Jesse Jackson calls up the national headquarters of the A&P in Washington, D.C. He's in New York City, and he's running a thing called Operation Breadbasket. This is in 1972. And he calls him up. He calls up the president's office, and the secretary answers, and she says, "Oh, Reverend Jackson." And he says, yes. He said, I'd like to come, some of our people from Operation Breadbasket from Chicago here would like to come and meet with the president. And she said, oh, what is it about? And he said, it's about this discriminatory pricing that A&P is engaging in. She said, let me see here. She says, he's got an opening here like next Thursday. Next Thursday, he's got an opening at 2:00. He said, good, well then look, just keep that open, dear, will you please? And our people will come there to see him. She said, well, look, let me just go check to make sure he doesn't have anything. She gets up and she leaves. And she comes back to the phone. She says, oh, Reverend Jackson, I'm so sorry. She said, he says he won't meet with your people. And Jackson says, listen, dear, just keep that spot open, okay, for him, just in case. And so then he hangs up. So the next Thursday comes, right? And so into the office, they come up the big elevator, they come into the office. In comes like two black ministers, and a black Catholic priest, and a white Catholic priest, and two nuns, and they come in and they sit down in the office, and they at 2:00 they come over to the reception and say, we're here to meet with the president. And she says, "Oh, I don't have anything down here. Let me check with his secretary." And they check with the secretary, and she comes back out, and she says, "Oh, I'm sorry," she said, "but he told Reverend Jackson that they aren't going to. He won't meet with your people." And they said, "That's all right. We'll just sit here and wait until he's got." So they just sit there waiting, right? And it goes all the way through to the end of the day.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.